In the first class, I have taught you about the first topic in the highway engineering. In the second class, that is in geometric design. In the geometric design, highway alignment is the main topic. The requirements of highway alignment is short. It should be short. The alignment should be short, easy, safe, and economical. The factors considering for the highway alignment is obligatory points. Obligatory point is nothing but the alignment. Suppose if this is an highway, alignment should be straight or not. That is the obligatory points. The alignment which should pass, that is known as obligatory points. Traffic conditions should be considered, geometric design, economic conditions, and other construction considerations should be taken for the factors affecting the highway alignment. Next, engineering surveys. The engineering surveys are map study, reconnaissance survey, preliminary surveys, final location, and detailed survey. In these three questions, they have not asked you any questions for your examination. Next important topic is highway cross-section elements. So in highway cross-section elements, there are different factors which are affecting the cross-section of highway. One important factor is friction, or it is also known as skid resistance. So the friction of skid resistance, what is this friction? The friction of skid resistance between vehicle tire and pavement surface is one of the factor determining the operating speed and the minimum distance required for stopping of vehicles. That is known as friction. And in this friction, there are two important questions which are asked is, what is the lateral coefficient of friction value as per in IRC? So that is 0.15. And as per longitudinal, as per IRC, what is the longitudinal coefficient of friction is 0.35. So again, the factors which affects the frictions are type of pavement surface, whether it is a cement, concrete, bituminous, waterbound macadam, or it is earth surface. So condition of pavement, type and condition of tire of the vehicle, speed of vehicle. So there are many factors which affects the friction. And the second one is unevenness, or it is also called as pavement unevenness. So the longitudinal profile of the road pavement has to be even in order to provide a good riding comfort to fast moving vehicles and to minimize the traffic conditions. So the pavement unevenness should be even throughout the highway. So that is known as pavement unevenness. So the instrument which is used to measure this pavement unevenness is bump integrator and roughometer are the two instruments which are used to measure the unevenness or pavement unevenness. And the third characteristics is light reflecting characteristics. So in the light reflecting characteristics, there are various conditions for the night visibility. So night visibility basically depends upon the color and light reflecting characteristics of the pavement surface. So light colored or the white pavement surface gives good visibility at night. Particularly during rainy season, this light colors gives good visibility, and black top pavement surface on the other hand provides very poor visibility at nights, especially when the surface is wet. This is about the light reflecting characteristics. Next is the camber or cross slope. So camber or cross slope is a slope provided at the road surface in the transverse direction to drain off the rainwater from the road surface. So there is this is your road. A slope is provided at the top of at the center of the road, so that during the rainy season to drain off the rainwater from the road surface. So drainage and quick disposal of water from the pavement surface by providing cross slope is considered important. Okay, this is about the camber. And the camber or cross slope is mainly provided for the drainage conditions. And there are certain standards for this camber or cross slope. For the waterbound macadam, the standard slope provided is 1 in 33 to 1 in 40 or 3%. For the hill roads or the bituminous surface, the cross slope is 2.5%. Next is width of pavement or carriageway. So this is the important. Single lane road, it is 3.75 meter. For the 2-lane without curbs, it is 7, and with curbs it is 7.5 meters. Next, side distance. There are different side distances. Stopping side distance, or SSD, or it is also called as absolute minimum side distance. Overtaking side distance or passing side distance. Safe side distance, intermediate side distance, and headlight side distance. So what is the stopping side distance? So stopping side distance is nothing but the side. First I'll tell you what is this side distance. Side distance is the length of road visible ahead of the driver at any instance. I repeat, side distance is nothing but it is a length of the road visible ahead of the driver at any instance. That is known as side distance. As I've told you, there are different types of side distances. So stopping side distance. So stopping side distance is nothing but the minimum distance visible to a driver ahead or the side distance available on a highway at any spot should be of sufficient length to safely stop a vehicle traveling at design speed without collision with any other obstruction. So this stopping side distance is also called as absolute minimum side distance. This is also sometimes called as a non-passing side distances. So stopping side distance is nothing but side distance available on a highway at any spot to stop a vehicle is called as stopping side distance. Stopping side distance is equal to lag distance plus braking distance. So the factors which affect the stopping side distance is total reaction time of the driver, speed of vehicle, efficiency of brakes, frictional resistance between the road and the tire, gradient of the road. And in the total reaction time of the driver, PIEV theory, that I'll be doing it in the traffic engineering. So stopping side distance, I'll explain you what is meant by lag distance plus braking distance. So lag distance is nothing but the distance traveled by the vehicle at uniform speed during the total reaction time. So lag distance is given by V into T. If V is in meter per second, it is V into T. If it is in kilometer per hour, it is 0.28 VT. T, the total reaction time of the driver, T is taken as 2.5 seconds as per IRC recommendation. Next, braking distance. So distance traveled by the vehicle after the application of brake until the vehicle come to a dead stop. So braking distance is given by V square by 2GF in terms of meter. G is 9.8 meter per second square. So totally the eye level of a driver should be at minimum 1.2 meters height. So I told you stopping side distance is lag distance plus braking distance. So if V is in meter per second, stopping side distance is equal to Vt plus V square by 2GF. V square by 2GF is the braking distance. So if it is V is in kilometer per hour, it is 0.278 Vt plus V square by 254 F. Suppose if there is a slope condition given, V is in meter per second, so stopping side distance is Vt plus V square 2G F plus or minus 0.01 N. So this is for the slope. If it is in V is in kilometer per hour, then if it is in kilometer per hour, stopping side distance is equal to 0.278 Vt plus V square divided by 254 F plus or minus 0.01 N. So this is about the stopping side distance formulas, which is important in solving the problems. So now, one question they have asked, stopping side distance and friction coefficients are inversely proportional to each other. If you want to apply brakes, it is inversely proportional to friction coefficients. Next, as I've told you, what is stopping side distance? It is the minimum distance available on a highway, which is the distance of sufficient length to stop the vehicle without collision. So overtaking side distance. Further, I've told you what are the formulas which are considered in overtaking side distance. Next one is intermediate side distance. Intermediate side distance is equal to 2 times the stopping side distance. Next thing is design speed. So design speed, there are two different design speeds. One is ruling design speed and minimum design speed. So design speed, ruling design speed and minimum design speed. So minimum design speed is considered where the restrictions of economic condition is considered, and the ruling design speed minimum radius is v square divided by e plus f into g. So there is a graph which is applied for calculating the geometric design of highway, that is called as cumulative speed distribution curve. That curve is called as cumulative speed distribution curve. For a highway. For design speed it is 98. For 98% we will calculate. For safe speed it is 85th percentile. So absolute minimum radius for safe operation for a speed of 110 km per hour. So R is equals to v square divided by e plus f into g. Since it is actually the minimum radius formula is v square divided by e plus f into g. When it is in terms of kilometer per hour, R is equals to v square divided by e plus f into 127. So R, you need to calculate the minimum radius. So R is v is given as 110. E, always the standard super elevation is taken as 0.07. F, coefficient of friction, as I've told you in the friction or skid resistance, F is 0.15. When you calculate, you get 440 meter. Next important thing is super elevation or cant or banking. So super elevation, as I've told you, minimum radius is e plus f is equal to v square by gr. If it is in terms of kilometer per hour, it is v square by 127 r. So r, if it is given in terms of degree, r is equal to 1720 divided by d. For a narrow gauge and a broad gauge, there are two different conditions. Later I'll be telling you. So in highway construction, on super elevated curves, the rolling shall proceed from lower edge towards the upper edge. This is important, which is asked in one of the multiple choice question. In highway construction, on super elevated curves, the rolling shall proceed from lower edge towards the upper edge. And there are different curves: horizontal curves, vertical, transition curves. So in planes, minimum length of transition curve is equal to 2.7 v square by r. Shift of transition curve, that is the shift of transition curve of radius is given by s is equal to ls square by 24r. ls is the shift, length 48 and r is taken as 300. So to calculate shift, this is the formula, ls square by 24r. Curve provided at change of gradient is called as a vertical curve. An ideal form of the curve for summit curve is circle. Length of transition curve depends upon the rate of change of centrifugal acceleration. Next, centrifugal force. So for centrifugal force on a car moving on a horizontal curve is proportional to Wv square by gr. I am not teaching you briefly about this. Whichever the topic which is important under the subtopic, I am explaining you with the point wise, okay. Force on a car moving on a horizontal curve is proportional to Wv square by gr. So calculate the design rate of super elevation on a 3-degree horizontal curve for a narrow gauge track if design velocity in the curve is 70 km per hour. So E is equal to gv square by 127r. So G for a narrow gauge, it is 1.057. Okay. So E is equal to gv square by 127 r. G is 1.057, V is 70 square, 127, r is 1720 divided by d. D is 3 degree. So 0.071 meter for a narrow gauge.